All right, here we go with my unpopular ass opinions. I wasn't going to watch this. I knew I didn't want to watch this, but I watched it anyway. Somebody recommended it. I do this for you guys, not for me. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Sylvie's Love, available now on Amazon Prime. Now, I am late to the party because I did not plan to watch this. When I see trailers and I see anything that resembles predictable, I normally don't watch. Since we have had so many love stories that kind of, have the same formula, I kind of pick and choose what I do and don't want to watch. Before we get into why I feel like we're so invested in proper Black representation on film and diversity that when we get stories like this, we kind of let other things kind of go by the wayside. Before I get into what I thought about this film, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things Sylvie's Love. Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. Now, I'd like to start off with the positives and really get into what I thought about the film in general later. Now, to start off, I really loved a lot about this film. As soon as it comes on and you see, the credits and the way that the names are showing up and, the styling, the way things are headed, the direction, I'm like, oh, this isn't just, a movie set in the 50s and 60s era. This is a movie that is shot as if it's a 50s and 60s film. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is refreshing. It was really giving me, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, Dorothy Dandridge, all those, Pearl Bailey. Like, I'm liking this. It's giving me Paris Blue with, Sidney Poitier and Diane Carroll. I was here for it. They really took the time to, pay attention to detail to really get us engrossed in the 60s. They didn't just, throw a couple of things around like, no, we see, everything from the TV shows being played, everything, from just the backgrounds, just the tint on the film. It really felt like a 60s love story that, we really don't get to see anymore. It was very, very nostalgic to look at. I loved it. The music. This is the main reason why I watched the film, because one of my subscribers told me, about the music, and that was an understatement. Every song played here, like, this movie needs a soundtrack. It was so great. You hear everything from, Frankie Lyman to John Coltrane to Charlie Parker to Thelonious Monk. If you are a jazz lover, this is the film for you. They don't spare any expense on the music and what they are trying to convey through music, because a lot of the characters building their relationship is based off music and jazz. And boy, is this movie rich as far as that's concerned. I was like, whoo, I'm here for it. Loved it. And then just getting into the representation, it was so nice to see a Black love story just not be based on toxicity. There wasn't much, arguing, a lot of, fighting, a lot of, disagreeing at all. You just got to see two characters just be people and fall in love. And we don't get to see that every day. We could have easily switched these two characters out for white characters and the story would have flowed the same. There was no, even for the time, there wasn't a lot of concentration on race and things like that. I just love to see that. We don't get enough stories like this. So when we get something like this, it is, something to be cherished, because it's either this or, the latter of what we get most often. And with that, we need to talk some more about that. So getting into the story, we are immediately introduced to Sylvie and Robert. Sylvie is portrayed by Miss Tessa Thompson. If you've seen my Malcolm and Marie review, you know how I maybe feel about Tessa Thompson. I don't know why. I just feel like we see her so much. Like, let some more people, you know, get in there. We don't gotta call Tessa for everything. But and Robert portrayed by Namdi. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not really too familiar with him. I do know that he is Kerry Washington's husband and that he was a producer on this film, and he is a ex-football player. Now, aside from Tessa, Namdi he did an incredible job. This was my first time seeing him in any acting role. He did so great here. I loved it. He was really good at conveying certain emotions when he needed to. Like when he hit this here, and it was like, I was right there with him. Like, damn, you okay? He did an awesome job here. I really loved it. Tessa can be a hit and miss for me sometimes. And no, I do not have a personal vendetta towards this woman. At times, she can be a little wooden, just a little bit. But she did okay here as well. We get into him falling in love with Sylvie. It's kind of like a love at first sight thing. And we don't really even know why. There isn't a lot of, explanation behind it. It's just like, I saw her and I love her. And, I'm smitten. Although Sylvie's character is engaged to be married. And we know, just from the story that, she's really into television and, she wants to, produce shows. And he's, an up and coming musician. He wants to be successful. He wants to be the next Coltrane and all these other things. Really, compelling things to really, really get us invested into these characters. But I feel like with a lot of this story, everything was so surface level. I was like, can we dig into the pain? You ever seen Girl 6? Dig into the pain. Dig into the pain. Like, can we get in there? I mean, everything was, really, innocent, really coy, really summer fling. But if you guys wanted to give me, that drop dead Love Jones, oh my God, will they, won't they? I'm really invested into these characters. I didn't get that from here. I wouldn't go back and watch this a second time. I feel like a lot of things with Sylvie's character was just kind of laid at her feet for whatever reason. I was like, it is called Sylvie's Love. But I feel like she just had no repercussions for anything throughout this entire film. And it was just really like, okay. Now, at its heart, this movie is about pretty much, the old saying, if you love someone, then, you let them go. And in doing that, I think we miss, the most interesting parts of this story, like the him, really wanting to pursue that jazz career and, trying to climb up the ladder as a jazz musician and being, that shining star in this band, but he's not the leader of the band. This is, the Dickie Barnes, whatever the dude's name. This is, the Dickie's Quintet. And him, just kind of, being beelined and, that moment in time, when jazz went somewhere else and, other things were coming more into the forefront. And it wasn't so much about, Miles and Thelonious and, Morgan Lee and all those other people anymore. It was about, Motown, coming more to the forefront, or even just her, coming up on something new of, wanting to be a female African-American producer. And her, wanting to do something else, as they were leaving the 60s and getting into the 70s and being able to, do, more risque things on television. Like, that was good. I was like, can we get some more of that? Like, I'm really invested in those things. These are, stories that we don't get to see told, most often. I would love to see, Black person and, that climate. As far as their love story, I mean, they tried, everything was really innocent. I did like, seeing them fall in love with each other. It was quick. Everything was, pretty fast paced, and we knew exactly where it was going. You know, they do that old movie trope. Somebody's, you know, leaving, something's happening, all of a sudden chicks throwing up. You know, anytime somebody throws up in a movie, female, they're pregnant. Like, and we get, you know, the first instance of, you know, I love him so much, I don't want to stifle him, you know, with a child and this and that. I'm gonna let him go. And there aren't, you know, any real repercussions for that, or any real though, you know, she does have to be without her love for a while. She has a whole man there, a whole husband who knew about the baby already, still decided to marry her. Though she had a whole fling over, you know, the summer, still married her, still provided, still is, you know, here for her and raising the daughter. Like, okay. And always knew in the back of his mind that, you know, I wasn't her first choice. And it's pretty much about her just settling for this husband. Girl, where he at? But in the same time, you know, she knows exactly what she's getting herself into. We hear, you know, in the beginning of the movie about, you know, how her mother is. And I wish you would have dug more into those parents too. We didn't even get to see the wife and husband in a scene together. I was like, can we get some more of that? Can we get some more into, you know, her mom wanting her to marry, you know, the upper echelon of men. You know, we need to marry wealthy. I don't want you, you know, to have to struggle. This guy is below your means. Like, we could have gotten some more into that. We just got, you know, him getting fired. I was like, oh, okay. But at the same time, we have, you know, the dad being, you know, an ex-saxophone player, and her seeing, I'm sure her seeing the dad and Robert, and maybe even the mom, maybe feeling like she's settled, because, you know, this guy, he owned, you know, a record shop, and he was a jazz musician. She felt like maybe she was going in the same footsteps that she did. Give us, you know, some of that. I mean, them, you know, having picnics and kissing and stuff, it's cute or whatever, but I wanted some more story. I think the story lacked a bunch of depth. Or even her side character, you know, her cousin, her, you know, best friend cousin. She was used, you know, a little prop-esque in the beginning, you know, just a reason for them to link back up when she finally, you know, goes, oh, you know, I put my tongue down your throat, but it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done that. And then, oh, girl, we're going to a party. It's a man now. I'm going to meet a man. We're going to see a man. I'm going to see a man about a horse. We're going to see this man. Bye. That was the whole cousin. It was all her lines. Bye. See, bye. Cousin was out of there like, girl, I'm trying to. But I wish, you know, they would have given. I like that they didn't just stick to that, and her, you know, working and going, you know, to Washington and the monument, and giving us a little glimpse into what was going on in the times with her character. That was better to see than bye. How was it, girl? Extraordinary? Oh, girl, it was extraordinary. I ain't never had none of that extraordinary day. I mean, you know, it was I'm glad they pushed her on along. Or even, you know, the Dickie character, I really like. I was like, is that Eva Longoria? We ain't seen Eva Longoria since Desperate Housewives. I was really happy to see her here. Even I wish, you know, we got, you know, a little bit more with her and invested in, you know, the band characters, but mostly it was just about Sylvie. But she, you know, he leaves for Paris. She does, you know, want to stifle him. She doesn't tell him that she's pregnant. And she pretty much settles for her husband, who knows that she's settling. But with her settling for him, you know that there are certain expectations. You can't wait 5 years later and go, oh, you're stifling me. I don't want to be, you know, a housewife. I want to be, you know, a producer. And I have, you know, greater ambitions for my life. You're holding me back. I can't keep making you happy. What? Is that what we've been doing for 5 years? Girl, if that's making somebody else happy, girl, sign me up. And then we get into, you know, Robert's If, you know, you love him, let him go, where he comes back, and the most antagonizing thing about this whole story is just waiting for Sylvie to open her mouth and say, you have a daughter. I was pregnant. You have a child. And she absolutely does not. She absolutely does not. She goes as far as to not say anything at all. And her dad actually says something on his, because he's, you know, pretty much dying in the hospital of a heart attack. Okay. I mean, you know. And you're waiting, for this huge climax when he actually does find out, and it just goes, wee, 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 wee. He's just like, he hits one of these, why you didn't tell me? And she gives a dry ass, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to meet her. Cool. And then we get into him, being pretty much the leader of this band, though it's not his band, being underpaid for 5 years, not, venturing off to do his own thing. And when he actually does, after the whole movie of, oh, you're so great. Oh, you're amazing. Oh, when you go solo, I need to be the first person you call. You're so incredible. You're the next blah, blah, blah. When he actually does, Jazz has went somewhere else, and he doesn't have an opportunity, and he has to go back to being a steel mill worker. After we've built a whole relationship with the daughter, we've spent some time there, we've invested more time in Sylvie. She's divorced her husband. We never hear from the mom again. I was like, we're not gonna get nothing from the mom. No how could you scenes with the mom. Cool. After we do all of that building and him, coming back, and 5 years of pretty much pining for her, they, start off running into each other outside of a theater. And even though, yet again, she has that ring on her finger, just like 5 years prior, but they still, she still cheats on her husband. I love how it was all cool when she cheated. Like, he was here. I know he was here. Everybody knows he's here. I know where you've been. And she's just like, oh, baby. Okay. No repercussions for Sylvie anywhere. The most repercussions she got, it was, salvaged towards the end. But I didn't understand. He built so much, but just because this movie is kind of, leading with, if you love someone, let him go. I don't want to get in the way of your dreams. I don't want to get in the way of anything you're trying to accomplish. So even though I've built this with the daughter, I've came back into your life, I've made these promises, I'm going to lie to you and say, I need to go to Detroit. But I love that scene where the dude was like, man, I was just shooting a jive, man. Jive, turkey sucker. I was playing. I didn't know you was actually going to come. It was giving me Martin in the Barnell Hill show. Like, come on down. Catfish. It was giving me that. The Barnell Hill show. Like, no, but he came, and since he's not down, he doesn't want to really admit that I don't have the means to take care of my family as a man as I want to, and I don't want to come in between her and her dreams and her having to leave and come to Detroit. I'm just gonna leave and tell her I don't want her to go. And hey, can I at least say goodbye? You were going to just flat ass say goodbye to your daughter for love them and let them go theory? But we eventually, see Sylvie, find out and then come back together, and her pretty much, hey, if you're not in my life, what's life? Job or not? And they walk off into the sunset. And we have, nice ending credits. I like the way the ending, it was very, very 50s. I loved it. I did like the film. I don't want to hear no, man, you ain't supporting the black film, man, it's black, anti-black, you ain't supporting the love. Shut up. I like the film. I like the film. I enjoyed the film. I just wish we had a few more aspects and, got some depth with the characters. If you think of, Darius Love Hall and Nina Mosley and how much time we spent with them and getting to know them and getting to know those side characters. Like, we love, Savad and everybody else just as much as we love those two. Like, we were very invested. So that climax, of, I love you, and that's urgent like a motherfucker. All of that stuff like came together. It was so like, like, yes. Here it was just like, okay, for the love of Sylvia. But if we could have got a little bit more depth to go along, we got a little bit, more backstory. If we could have leaned more into, their side stories outside of just the love that they have for each other, so we could really invest and see why, if we could have got, spent some time with him over in Paris, or got a little bit more time, with her and the husband and him. We knew that he wasn't that type of husband to, just be so invested in her dreams and what she wanted to do, but she also knew that before she married him. So it was just like, girl, don't try to do this right now. Don't do it. But I did enjoy the film. I love the music. The music was incredible. I love it. I am a jazz fan, so I was in jazz heaven. I love the representation. I like that we got something else other than what we normally get. Didn't nobody get beat? Did nobody end up in court? You know, nobody threw no grits on nobody. Madea didn't come out with a gun. You know, I was feeling it. But just give me a little bit more cheese on the cracker. Oh, it would have been so awesome. But I do know that we can't get everything all the time. Sometimes we just need to be appreciative of what we get. And I'm appreciative of it. I just wanted a little bit more seasoning on it. But that was my take on the movie. Tell me what you guys thought about Sylvie's Love. If you've seen it, if you haven't, please go check it out. Drop down in those comments. Let's get the conversation started, 2-3 months later. But, who cares about time? I'm just giving you guys content. Shout out to the person who, I believe it was Mary Jane, my sub, who asked me to review this. I hope that I doubt this is what you wanted me to say. But let's get the conversation going. Drop down in those comments. Please like this video if you agree with me. I'm always here for that. If you disagree with me, I'm always here for that too. I see you guys next time. Bye.